everybody, and welcome to the Cult Popture Diminishing Returns Club. Where, just kidding, not into the quality's still wonderful. It's still wonderful to talk to you, Vincent. It does feel like the patrons that still pay to be here not turning up. Is the joke on them or is the joke on us? That's the question. That's the real question. Here.
The real prank is getting our hopes up every month
Yes.
by still paying.
Yeah, but is it? I don't know. I feel like us still getting the money is like we win in the end, right? Then it's like, well, no one can. If no one showed up to these, then it's just like, well, joke's on you for paying us $15 for no reason.
To know what we think of Dr. Zhivago.
Yeah, everyone's dying.
I guess like if no one shows up, we still do it, right?
I don't know.
It's just a more expensive GMP at that point.
Yeah.
And it's filmed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, welcome to the Cult Popture Movie Club. This is our movie club where if you donate to our Cult Classics tier over on patreon.com/cultpopture, you can join us and talk about a movie, usually a cult classic movie. And this month, we got the very easy watch of Dr. Zhivago, 1965. And I'm, of course, AJ, joined by Richard, and the star of the show, the main character of Movie Club, Vincent, who's now, for the first time, the only patron here.
Yay!
So Dr. Zhivago, or Il Dottor Zhivago in Italian, is sort of this, it's from 1965. It's this like grand scale epic drama. It's directed by David Lean and based on a book from 1957 by Boris Pasternak. That's a fun name, eh? What?
Should we just say that a few times?
Pasternak,
Yeah.
Pasternak.
Pasternak.
Who wants to tell us what Dr. Zhivago is about? It's 3 hours and 20 minutes. It's very hard to follow. It's very old. It's very slow. But is it
Vincent,
bad?
you go.
I can just say just the basis gist of it. It's takes place in the 1950s, I believe, following this physician / poet, Dr. Zhivago, the titular character, as he tries to survive Russian Revolution while being in love with his wife, but also another woman named Lara, who was the basis for this famous book of poetry that he created. And the film is kind of bookended by Alec Guinness searching for the child of this Dr. Zhivago.
Yes. Exactly. It is. You said the 1950s. That's when Alec Guinness is narrating. The main amount of the story takes place. It begins, I think, in 1917. Is most of the like when we first see it, but it goes. It covers about 6 years, I think. Overall.
Yeah, it's World War One, or just after World War One.
Yeah. So this,
which is famously not in the 1950s.
Yeah, very famous. I'd argue one of its defining features. This is quite a well-known and revered film. It has, I think, 85% on Rotten Tomatoes. Let me double check. And it also 84%, and it was also won a few Oscars at the time. It won Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Original Score, Best Cinematography, Best Art Direction, Best Costume Design, but it did not win Best Picture, Best Director, and 3 other awards not specified on Wikipedia at the 38th Academy Awards. Sound of Music won Best Picture that year.
You're thinking of the Golden Globes. That was the 23rd.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's always funny when you watch
directly reading.
when you watch like an old movie like this, and it's like, oh yeah, did alright at the Oscars, but not great. And then you see like, oh, it won to like one of the biggest films of all time. Like, just say it's crazy to think that like there were periods of times where 2 movies like this were out at the same time. You know.
Yeah, exactly. No, you're totally right. And the the Dr. Zhivago. So it's directed by David Lean. Do you guys know what else David Lean directed?
Bridge on the River Kwai.
Bridge on the River Kwai, and Lawrence of Arabia. Very famous films. And Dr. Zhivago is sort of seen as the weakest of his three grand romantic.
I'd probably
efforts.
agree. I've seen half of the Bridge on the River Kwai, but I have been to the Bridge on the River Kwai.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's a very it's in a place called Kanchanaburi in Thailand, and there's like a really, really cool museum there, which is like, you know, normally if you go like, oh, it's a real cool museum, you expect like, oh, you know, it's got he's interactive shit. This was like entirely just text on walls in like so many different rooms, but fuck, it was so interesting and so well written that it was like one of the best museums I've ever been to. But it's like there's no like dioramas or anything like that. It's just like walls and walls of text.
Wow.
Nice.
If only we watched The Bridge on the River Kwai. Have you seen Lawrence of Arabia?
Actually, I haven't. No.
No, neither. Eating.
Yeah, I just got some Macca's.
Oh wow.
We have a tradition in our house when like so because Jess, you know, like if she's got like a work party or something like that, has a, you know, a little bit to drink, and then the next morning I'm fucking stoked. I'm always happy to pick her up because I know the next morning that week I'm getting Macca's Uber Eats.
Very cool.
And then yeah, I've eaten and drunk on the podcast before, but never while it's been filmed.
So what did you guys think overall of the 3-hour, 19-minute epic that is David Lean's film, Dr. Zhivago? That's how it's phrased on the poster in the movie. It's specified that it's his film.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't really captivated by it. I'm sorry to say. Like it is. I always feel bad when I watch a film like this because it's like, but like it is good to know because it says like contemporary critics were generally disappointed, complaining at its length over 3 hours, and it's like, I'm sorry, but that is like a pretty big, you know, wall to put up between me and enjoying the film.
Yeah.
You know, it takes a director like Zack Snyder to really get me to hold attention for close to 4 hours. David Lean, no, not so much.
Well, I mean, I'm quite interested in The Bridge on the River Kwai and Lawrence of Arabia. I don't know how long Bridge on the River Kwai is, but Lawrence of Arabia is famously around as long as well.
Bridge on the River Kwai is 161 minutes, so like 2 hours 40.
Right.
But the yeah, it's yeah, like I feel bad that it's like, you know, I'm supposed to like this filmy guy, but like films like this, it is actually just really hard to get into sometimes, and it is because of modern sensibilities, you know, when it comes to film, and yeah, like not only you've got the length, but then you've got the way stories used to be told back then. And it's different to how it is now, and yeah, you feel like an idiot being like, oh, I want films told the way, but it's like it's just how I'm familiar with, what I was raised with, and you know, I didn't watch movies like this, so you know, some people grew up with like shit like Lawrence of Arabia, not even like from the time period, but just having those were the kind of films that their parents showed them, and yeah, so I saw the movie. I was looking at the movie, but I just really struggled to take a lot of it in.
Right. Vincent, what do you think?
I think it was interesting enough where I wasn't bored, but once I hit intermission, like, fuck, this really is long. Like, fun fact, the only time I've ever been in a theater where a movie had intermission was when they did a double screen of Toy Story and Toy Story 2, where there was an intermission between the two.
When they put it in 3D?
In 3D, yeah. See, my man knows. See?
Nice.
But I like Zhivago as a character. I think his story is interesting, but pacing-wise, let's get this. We got to figure out how to get this under 3 hours, please.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing, is that it's not a film where 3 hours and 20 minutes of stuff happens, to be honest. It's a film where there's a scene on a train that could be 10 minutes long and
Could be cut out of the movie.
It's 25 minutes long. Like it's really interesting. And like I like this in some films. I really like it in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, how we just stay like sat still for so long and stuff just slowly unfolds. I think there's something to be said for a movie taking its time. But it is.
I also think that's partially due to like the circumstance, because you famously watched Good, the Bad, and the Ugly under like quite good circumstances your first time, right?
Yeah, I guess so. It was just
whereas like
afternoon.
Yeah, relaxed afternoon, putting on, you've got a whole afternoon, but like knowing, fuck, I have to watch this 4-hour movie for this stupid fucking movie club. No, we love you, Vincent.
Vincent's Movie Club.
Yeah, about fucking time.
Next month we'll watch Civil War.
Yes.
And what is that? Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2, which actually turned 10 this month. So,
but it's a franchise.
If it wasn't part of a franchise, it could be added to the list.
Wow.
But like knowing you, like being forced to watch something essentially, and like I had to watch this in like 4 sittings because I just kept on not having time and just having to slot it in, you know. And yeah, that's like the worst way to watch a movie.
Yeah, right. So, yeah, I know what you mean, and it is interesting that the like, because a lot of old movies from like pre-1970 are like these old like 3-hour long. Some are even longer. I think Gone with the Wind is closer to 4 hours than 3. Yeah, and it was kind of the norm and expected, I think. And in some cases, I don't think it's I don't think the movie necessarily suffers for it. But this is an example which is really interesting, that even contemporary critics were like, this is too long. I've never read that before. I've never heard of contemporary critics complaining that a movie from this time period was too long, because they were all about this long.
So if you're going to make a movie, you may as well make it this long, you know?
Yeah.
Because it's so hard to make movies back then.
Yeah, and I think that as well, I was reading what some other critics thought. A lot of people were saying, like, it was a real interesting reading of this film, that like it feels sort of superficially like it's absolutely political. It's absolutely saying something political, but then a lot of people are like, it's not saying anything. It's about a love story. It's not. And like, I think the book is a lot more like overtly political, and it blends together the love story and the political strife of the Russian Revolution in a way that feels earned and beautiful and poetic, whereas the movie is like, it's the backdrop of the Russian Revolution.
Yeah. And I think that maybe is part of why I had such a difficult time watching it as well, because I was like, like, there's more to this, right? We're just focusing on the love story, but I feel like I must be real stupid because I've missed out on like the real plot.
I mean, there is plot motivated by the politics, in the sense that one of the more villainous characters starts the story as like a very on the ground protester. Like, a lot of the characters have ties to the background, but like ultimately it's a film which I would have assumed is saying something about the Russian Revolution that I didn't understand, but according to a lot of reviews, they're like, no, it's not saying anything. It's like DOCTOR ZHIVAGO, his, apparently, I didn't pick up on this at all, but apparently like his character struggle, I think in the novel, maybe in the movie, is supposed to be like a man who agrees with the cause of the Russian Revolution, but not the means in which it's carried out. I actually know very little about the Russian Revolution. I don't even know what is considered the good side of the bad side necessarily. So I don't want to speak too much on something I don't know about. But what I do know a little bit more about is the cinematography, which I thought was beautiful in this film, and probably my favorite thing about it. What did you guys think of the cinematography?
Yeah, there's a few like kind of random shots that that really caught my eye, and those kind of ones that it's like that's probably iconic. Like there's a bit where he's looking out like a window that's like iced up, and then it cuts to just like the like frozen fractals, and then it just stays on that for a few seconds before fading to the next scene, and it's like people love this shit.
Right.
Yeah.
Would be Vincent.
I think how like just shots of like the winter of just the barren landscape of him walking through, just trying to get back to his family, and Laura just walking through a cold Russian winter was just like beautiful white shots, and just the nothingness of the white and how he sticks out was like one of my favorite things in it. So yeah, it deserved awards for its cinematography, I would say.
The shot that really got me is in the first sort of third of the film, which is when I think it must be set before 1917 initially, because it's the World War One is part of the plot, because it goes
well, World War One
1913. I'm just reading now. 1913 is where it starts. When the characters start going to the war, it introduces you to the war by this, like, maybe not, I can't remember, but it's like this shot of a frozen sort of tundra and like an arm and a leg poking out from beneath the snow, and it's a still shot, and I was just like, damn, that's like one of the best shots I think I've seen in a film, and it's something which doesn't even feel unique to this time period. I wouldn't be shocked to see like a Roger Deakins film with something like that in it. Like
it's a good shot in it.
But like it's not just a good shot, but it's like it's
a great shot.
The subject in the shot is quite menacing and quite it's quite a perverse shot, because it's like of a dead body, and there's a almost dark comedy to it, I guess. It looked like something out of Fargo, basically, is what I'm saying. And I thought that was really cool, and there were a few other moments throughout it which I was like really just like getting as much as I wanted to out of the film just by what it looked like.
I'm curious, Vincent, like how much are you like, this is just something that I don't know that we've like really talked about that much, but how much do you enjoy like the art, or like film as like an academia? Like, did you ever study film or anything like that?
Yes, I took a film appreciation class at community college where we just talked about different aspects. One week was on editing, other was like on cinematography, and the few films we watched were American Beauty, The General, a Charlie Chaplin film, and Jim Jarmusch film. I can't remember, but yes, Dead Man. Yes, thank you. We watched those three as like, okay, we're gonna sit and watch, and then we won't write about it, we'll just talk about it. So then that was like the first time I ever like started appreciating and liking film, and seeking out good, like, you know, what are classically good films, and why I've been excited, you know, been participating in this, and then watching this Dr. Zhivago, like, yeah, I can say I watched it and appreciate it for what it is, but I can never recommend it to anyone.
What did you find as your most like what craft interests you the most?
I'd probably say cinematography, just beautiful shots, because that's what the medium can do that no other medium can. Yeah, exactly. Like that's what you go for, like the shots and the colors, and just
it's the most obvious one,
right?
In a way, like that puts it out there, you know.
Well, it's actually, a lot of people have said that editing is the one craft unique to filmmaking, because like a shot can be
done.
They
have it in TV as well.
And what? TV is a shot can be done in like a painting or photography, whereas editing is what defines a filmmaking as different.
But you can also edit a radio play.
You can. Do you I thought I didn't hate Dr. Zhivago. I thought that it's like, I hated how long it was and how much it took up my day, but it's like, I have watched 3-ish hour movies which I wasn't into before, whereas this was more like, I'm perfectly entertained. Well, maybe not maybe not amazingly entertained, but like it was very pleasant, I think, for a lot
Yeah,
of it.
perfectly is a bold statement.
Well, I'm just saying it wasn't a case of me like actively despising a movie or even not following it, which I thought would be the case. I was actually quite interested in it a lot more, probably in the earlier scenes where it felt like it was going to be a little bit more politically compelling. The train scene that I just mentioned that goes on for ages, I still really liked that scene and thought it was cool to see, like, it almost puts you in the shoes of what it'd be like to try and escape a
Train.
to escape a train, and to escape sort of like a totalitarian society that you think is going to come after you. I thought that was cool. And yeah, I don't know. I don't have too much else to say about this film, unfortunately. But yeah, I just wanted to say that, I guess, that I didn't necessarily think it was horrible or unwatchable.
Well, that's the thing that we get with these movies, is that they're all good. That's why we chose them, That's why they're on the list.
Yeah, and it's funny as well, because usually in preparation for movie club episodes, I'll type in name of the movie and then write explained afterwards. Just like, it was really useful for like Taxi Driver, the first one we did. Like so many people are writing video essays about Taxi Driver because it's such an interpretive movie. But hey, no one's fucking making video essays about Dr. Zhivago from 1965. Tell you what, there's a couple reviews. I watched a couple reviews with like 182 views on YouTube. So there's not even like a
more
defining,
popular than this one.
Yeah.
There's not even a defining Dr. Zhivago video at all on YouTube. It's all just.
Well, all right. Well, this will be it.
This will be it. It's very superficial and what's the opposite of depth? Shallow review of the film. Cool. So
We got any IMDb trivia?
Yeah.
do you wanna look up some IMDb
I'll go
trivia?
have a look for that. Yeah.
Alrighty.
Vincent, did you take notes?
Just to keep track about the relationships between like everyone, and also I forgot how Zhivago's wife is also his cousin.
Really? Didn't pick
Yeah.
up on that.
Yeah, because his father died and he's staying with his uncle, and then he's dating their daughter. I'm like, oh, that's his cousin.
What is
They
it
don't
with
especially say it.
yeah, what is it with like old like movies from this era or about this era that are like, yeah, dating, like Godfather 3 has a massive plot point about Michael Corleone's daughter dating her cousin, and at no point in the movie is this presented as anything particularly dark.
It's
or
like in
obscene.
Transformers 4, where it's like they did it just so they can explain why it's fine.
But they don't even really acknowledge that part in Godfather 3. It's so strange. It's such a modern movie to like condone incest. Do you guys know that there was a Dr. Zhivago TV series in 2002? And
Yes,
this was...
if Dan joined us, he was going to watch that instead.
Yeah.
But then he found out that it's actually longer than the movie. And then was like, oh, fuck.
Because I was interested in this because this actually stars Sam Neill as Victor Komarovsky, who's the rapist villain who crops up throughout this film. And this was actually what I knew of Dr. Zhivago all my life until someone told me it was also a classic film. I think I'd seen my mum watching it on TV in 2002, and that was what I thought Dr. Zhivago was.
Wow.
So, there you go.
There's also a musical.
Mm-hmm.
But that's more based on the book. Do you know that so Omar Sharif, who plays Dr. Zhivago, had to have his eyes taped back daily and his hair straightened to disguise his Egyptian looks. He also had his hairline shaved up about 2 to 3 inches and his skin waxed, a process which had to be repeated every 3 days. So that's fun.
Why did he cannot look Egyptian? Is this the IMDb trivia? Nice.
Nice.
So, what? Anything else?
I'm gonna say like, so next month school comes back and I'm taking a history of Russia class, and I swear to God I have to watch this movie for that.
Bro, you've already seen it. Just take a nap.
You're right, but
you're
like,
right. And I'm this is a recording of your thoughts of the film as well, so you could just go back and watch this. This would be a shit movie to watch for Russian history because it's like barely comments on it. It's just yep, it's happening in the background, isn't it?
It happened.
Apparently this grossed more than every other David Lean film put together.
That doesn't surprise me because it was the third after River Kwai and Lawrence of Arabia.
But still, like put together, that's insane because this is like adjusted for inflation is still one of the highest grossing films of all time.
Isn't that interesting? Is it like this does not speak to that? This does not feel like a record. Like a significant film in that conversation. But
I know there's not even any Avengers in it.
Yeah, there's not a single Avenger in it. There's not a single Avenger in it. Samuel Jackson's not in it. Yeah, Alec Guinness is in it. Maybe that's why.
He's barely in it.
Alec Guinness is barely in it.
Yeah, so it's currently number 9 and adjusted for inflation. The top 10: Gone with the Wind, Avatar, Titanic, Star Wars, Avengers Endgame, Sound of Music, E.T., 10 Commandments, Dr. Zhivago, Star Wars, The Force Awakens. That's crazy that 2 of those came out at the same time.
Same year.
Yeah.
Runs?
Sound of Music and Dr. Zhivago. That must have been one of the biggest film going years of all time.
Yeah, man. I'm sort of struggling to keep this going. If anyone has anything else they want to talk about,
well, okay, we need to get to the bottom of this.
Okay.
And Vincent, you get to have final say because you're here.
Right.
But we need to decide what we're going to do about the roulette and how to make sure we're watching films that we're excited to talk about and that we're getting people getting people wanting to come. So we've talked about, I brought up earlier in the week that maybe we do some kind of trade-off thing. So we roll the film, we still do our fun little guessing game, but then we if we have a chance to like swap or something like that, but you would be swapping not knowing what you're swapping to,
Right. So is it a case of swapping to the movie that came out on this month 10 years ago, no matter what? Do we want to keep that part of it?
I think so. And then if we don't swap to it, it just gets added to the list.
Okay.
Well, that's cool. So it's like, yeah, so yeah, we can choose to swap. I've got one in mind for the one that has just hit 10 years old.
Mm-hmm. What is it?
Well, I'm not going to tell you.
Yeah, because we have to see what we roll and then
I believe it's my turn to do run the guess, so I can do that now. We can end this thing at a recorded short. I don't know what I'm saying.
Let me just
speed running.
Okay, so 207 films.
Mm-hmm.
That is a calculator, not a random number generator.
Yeah. So, Vincent, what are the rules of the list? What are we doing right now?
Rules of the list are: it has to be considered a well-regarded classic film that is at least 10 years old, or it's just 10 years old because we need to fill the list.
Yeah, and it also can't be part of a franchise. Otherwise, we would cover it on our main podcast. So,
98.
Sorry.
All right, film number
98.
98 is okay. This is a movie with which we have covered a film on Film Franchise Fortnights, which its title is a parody of this title. That's your first hint. So
Is
there's a
the parody? So the parody is a comedy?
Yeah. That's not a I don't think it's a parody of the film. It's just the title is a parody. It could be. I doubt it, but it could be. I haven't seen the original.
It's not. Try to think what. Is the film franchise Fortnite title like a subtitle, or is it actually the title of the franchise?
It's like the first movie in the series is called parody of this title.
Right. And then the following films aren't called the same thing.
There's only one other film, and it uses part of the first title, but then changes the last word.
I've got it.
You've got it? What do you think it is? What do you
High
think
Noon.
it is? Yes, it's High Noon. High Noon from... High Noon from 1952. Yes!
Although I will say about High Noon, I believe it's famously a very short film.
Really? 85 minutes. That's not
Yeah.
that short.
Shit.
All right. Now, the question for you two
Yeah.
is, do you want to swap that out for a film that's just turned 10 years old?
A short film or fuck.
You can and you can ask one question
Is
Yes,
it
About the 10-year-old one?
about the 10-year-old one now.
okay. Hey, Lon Chaney is in High Noon from The Mummy.
Nope. Get it out of here.
Is it good?
Is there you can confer with each other if that's what you want your question to be.
How about, is the Rotten Tomato higher or lower? Is that a good question, AJ? Like, pick a number and like, is the Rotten Tomato higher and
Is
lower
it?
than
Yeah.
this?
Is it certified fresh? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
All right, Richard. That is our question. Is it certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes?
It is.
I feel like maybe we need more. I've got a second question, Richard. Fuck you. Is this going to be one that brings in more of the patrons who have maybe felt like they can't watch?
That's a very
I
good
think
question.
people would be like, "Oh, why are you covering?" It might be like, "Oh, why are you covering that?" But I think I would hope that it would get people on board.
More than High Noon?
Probably. I like it's a much, despite how short High Noon is, this is I would say like a very easy watch.
Mm,
Well, you've sold me on it.
yeah.
All right. Do you want me to make you guess, or do you want me to just tell you what it is?
Mm,
Make me guess.
yeah, make us guess.
All right. It's my favorite movie of 2011.
Okay.
It's directed by two people, Glenn Ficarra and John Requa.
Is
Stars
it
an ensemble cast.
Crazy Stupid Love?
It is Crazy Stupid Love.
I love that movie.
Yes! Hell yeah!
That's
Yeah.
also my
Yeah.
favorite movie of 2011. That's the kind of movie I want to make.
Yeah.
That's like such a
Yes.
meaningful movie.
I
to me.
might just go watch it now. I fucking love
Right?
that
Me
movie,
too.
man.
I got the DVD right there.
All right, that's pretty funny. Okay,
Fuck
well,
High Noon.
next month we're taking a sharp left turn into modern film sensibilities with Crazy Stupid Love. So check that out next month, and thank you for
Yeah.
watching. If
And
you
I'm
watched
excited for it because I think it's the kind of thing that like people might have already seen, and not only is like this incredible movie that a lot of people our age love, but there is also like a subplot that maybe hasn't aged super well in the last 10 years. So that'll be fun to talk about.
it's prime cult popture material.
It is.
Hell yeah.
It's the platonic ideal of a cult popture film. All right,
It's the
everybody.
romantic ideal of a cult popture film.
That is Movie Club for this month. Sorry, feels like these are getting worse each month, but there you go.
Until next month.
Till next month.
Yeah.
I'm
See you
so
later.
excited to talk about crazy stuff.
Me too. Yeah.